Hello, Ross here with another quick tip tutorial. Today I wanted to cover uh, project management. I think it's very important to have a very organized, clean workflow. It's good for pipelines, it's good for teams, it's amazing for large studios. If you have a really tidy and organized workflow yourself, it's going to give you promotions, it'll give you more responsibility. You're going to be put on larger projects because you will organize the project structure. The the larger the studio, the more longevity they want their projects to have because more money is poured into their projects. Uh, so it is highly important to have everything organized and structured in a way to where things can be iterated off the first look, the second look, the third look, and so on and so forth. Um, so with that said, we're going to start with the project folder itself. Um, you don't have to go off what I'm doing here, but it should be something very similar. They should know where your post-production files are. They should have all your assets in an asset folder or something named similar. So all your logos, all your anything supplied by the client or the package, not necessarily that's going to be inside your 3D files because you'll have your own text folder for that. But something like the project specs of where they're going, the um, any brand assets like color management, brand identity, actually go in assets. So if someone's going into your project, they can read that, they can catch up on what they're supposed to be designing for. Anything you're exporting, there should be some type of exports folder or finals folder that you export to, so someone can easily find where you're currently at. Usually at the end of the day, I will render where I'm currently at with my project. So if someone's hopping into it, like say I called out sick or something, they could see exactly where I'm at with it. I normally put a work in progress folder, so this way they don't think it's final. So once I put something in the finals folder, I'm usually expecting it to be either done or very close to being done. It's usually under like final review. Uh, but yeah, that's pretty much the folder structure itself. Let's hop into Cinema. Inside your Cinema folder, I try to keep everything as tidy as possible because 3D can get very messy very quickly, especially when you're dealing with revisions, you're dealing with uh, a heavy scene. This scene in particular is very light, it's only 3 objects. Um, but when you get into something a little bit more complex, you're going to have a lot more folders, you're going to have a lot more subfolders, and you just have to stay organized in how you're structuring it. So this way, if someone's going into it, they can find what they need, they can update what they have to change, or grab what they need for their own project to create an iteration off of yours. So in this scene, I have 3 folders here, 3 groups. My main scene folder, which has everything inside the scene. If I had different, if this was larger, I would create subfolders. Like if I was creating an environment, I would have my main environment, like my ground, my canyons, my mountains in a folder. I would have all my nature elements in a folder, like grass, trees, bushes, anything that has to deal with like liquids. They would have its own subfolder, like a lake, a river, a waterfall. Um, so I kind of categorize it on like uh, what it's doing in the scene and the attention that it requires. So if it's something heavy, like some type of simulation, it will have its own folder. It will be separated from the rest of the group. So this way I can isolate it to focus on it. So moving on, cameras, they're all in a folder, so I can easily see which ones I need to go to. I also have this link to takes, so I can easily switch to whatever camera I need. and it makes rendering a lot easier because I can just do render all takes, and it will go down this list, render all my cameras, and it will, let's see here, here, sequences, wine glass. It will create all the folders for me and put in my renders. Cool. And same thing for lighting. I tried to name my lights too, like what they're doing. And in this case, a very small project, I didn't name my dome light HDRI. I didn't name my key light. But because it's a small project, I think it's okay. But the larger the project, the more you want to name what your stuff is doing. It's just good practice. It is helping the next guy down the line when they hop into your project. You just don't know how long a package will be sitting in the pipeline for. So the more you can prepare for the future, the better. Like when I work in broadcast, some packages can last up to 5 years, sometimes even longer than that. So if every year it got messier and messier, it makes every year harder and harder on the designer's task to handle that package. I've dealt with some pretty messy packages, and it made the most simplest tasks impossible. For example, I would open up a cinema project, I would get a list of errors, missing textures, missing reference files, proxies, you name it. It was half the battle. I would say even more than half the battle. It was probably like 90% of the battle was just finding all the assets. And sometimes you couldn't even find them all. So you have to recreate it the best of your ability to get it one-to-one from the render from the previous year. Or even 2 years ago, if that package didn't change at all the previous year, so they just reused the renders. And sometimes assets go missing if it sits for a while. But yeah, with that said, once you're out of Cinema, you're going to be in After Effects. Same thing here. You want all your render files to be in a folder, so this way everyone knows this is the final comp that they should be in. You want a Change Me folder here. So this way, if they can change something in the After Effects scene that is something major, like say the label for the wine bottle, that is something I want them to change in After Effects, not in Cinema. It just makes life so much easier if you can change something 3D related in post. So for example, if we wanted to change this logo, I can just go inside here, let's swap out a new logo here. Let's go to preview, and it will update on all the wine bottles. See? And you can even go a step further, be like, hey, the new logo requires a new color. You can set it up to where you can change the entire scene, but not affect the logo. So this stuff is very important. Like, you set up your project in a way to where you future-proof it and make it easy for revisions, make it easy to create alterations. It makes production very happy that they can get a little bit of changes to kind of breathe a little bit of freshness into the new year. Because if you keep using the same graphics, it gets old, it gets boring. So they want change, they want something that can be updated and not create a lot of production time required. But with that said, if we go inside this project here, you can see every camera has its own folder, so anything to do with that final render comp will be in the subfolder here. And everything's super organized. So if someone were coming inside this After Effects project, they could easily find what they need, they could update it, they could swap things out, they can create a new camera view, and just follow suit. So next year, if there's 6 of these instead of 5, um, it's all following the same pipeline. It's easily, you can easily add to it, you can easily remove from it. Um, it just makes life a lot easier for the designers going into this project the following year, or even if you're working on a huge team on the same package, someone can just go inside your project, grab what they need or update what they need, and get out. And it saves production money, it saves production time, and everyone's a happy camper because they can go home at a normal time, no overtime required, and everyone's happy. But with that said, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Have a good day.